I think a lot of times our memories are erased. And I know that I have years of erasure where years are blank in my life, you know, because maybe I had a lot of activity in those years and boom, everything's gone. The people, everything. So, you know, it's almost like after a stroke or something where you can't remember things. You know, holes in the stories all the time, you know, and it's best to be true to that. If there's holes, there's holes, you know, rather than filling them in with stuff that might be interesting. So hats off to you.
Yeah.
And something that was told to me is that different people get activated at different times, right? And when you get activated, it's kind of like, I don't know if you saw the Close Encounters first movie, you know, how everybody was making that mound and they had to go to that mound. When you get activated, you feel that way. You feel motivated to do this crazy thing, whatever it is, you know, and that's your activation. It's like, oh, I have about this because, you know, it's in me and it's filling me and it's brimming over. So, you know, when that happens, that's the time to do it. When it feels not scary, but an exciting moment.
Yeah.
You know, that bird looks like sort of like an organic ship.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah,
It has both organic and metallic feeling to it. Like machine, biological machine.
Maybe. I have no idea why I did. The lotus, the strange lotus, the flower in there, is actually taken from one of the crop glyphs in England many years ago, and similarly with the round golden circle with the design and peripheral design of these things. That was also taken from another glyph, and so I just decided to represent them here.
And you've got Mayan symbols there as well, right?
I don't know. I think they might be, but I'd like to say I just tried to copy it as closely as I could from the crop glyphs that showed up.
So you had like a vision of this bird thing?
You can have it's like one day I have somewhere in my art collection, my sketches collection of paper, I have a sketch pad and I sketched out this bird. I just sketched it out and I have no idea where they came from. I decided I want to do this bird. So I sketched the bird and then I tried to copy it as closely as I could onto this painting. And I don't know what prompted it. Kind of a puzzle. It was supposed to be sort of like interdimensional kind of, openings or something of that nature. And the green thing underneath it is a planet. And then of course there's space out there with whatever stars, like everything kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very amazing.
Higher vibration.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I mean, that was
They may not be related in the logical sense, the usual sense, but somehow energetically or mind-wise, like wide mind, like consciousness, likewise, I think they're probably related somehow.
Okay.
So happy 86th birthday. So what day is your birthday then?
February 6th.
Oh, Pisces? Aquarius?
Oh, Aquarius.
Aquarius.
My girls are the 3rd, my twins.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard a lot of things that are similar to some of my experiences. And yeah, I don't know. Someday I'll be ready to talk about it, I guess.
We've done it bits already, our past videos. We release your quite a bit of our past videos. So thanks for sharing quite a bit already.
Yeah, yeah. But I haven't told you that I was the dumbest kid in school too.
Well, I think you mentioned that. Oh, and
Yeah.
Roberto was saying that.
Same thing. Same thing.
Well, of course, the teacher told my mother that I wasn't dumb, but very lazy.
Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just needs to work harder. He's very bright, but he needs to work harder.
Yeah.
Too late, he doesn't do anything.
I don't know. It just seemed to go in one ear and out the other. It just wasn't interesting, you know.
Yeah, me
And if I did write something well, then it was always my parents that did it. Yeah. But I did it, you know, but the teacher wouldn't believe it.
I can relate to that. Same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Very bright, too bright, but just doesn't want to do anything.
Yeah.
Too bright. Like
It was, well, I can tell you actually. So in Switzerland, if you don't go to high school, you actually are only suitable for menial work.
Mm.
You can't even learn a trade. So going to high school is a must. So time came, of course, you can go from grade 5. The smart ones go from grade 5. I went from grade 6, but the teachers recommended to my mother not to put me through the ordeal of a high school test because they saw no chance of me making it anyway. But then for some strange reason, and I was kind of timid anyway, I'm still surprised how I got the guts. So I registered myself. Okay, test came. Okay, fine. Went home for lunch in the afternoon. It went on. And then during a verbal mathematics question, which went on, well, the first question I still remember was 17 times 18. Right?
Okay.
And then plus and minus and divided and whatever, you know. And I followed the teacher right along. And when he was finished with his question, I had the answer. But then of course, the trick was if you have the answer, put up your hand. In all my life in school, I always left that show to other kids that were more eager to show the teacher how smart they were. I never put my hand up. But eventually I did. And so after about half the group had their hand up, then he says, right. And I was only worried. I didn't even have a second thought about the answer. And I didn't even go over twice whether the answer was right or wrong. So then finally, okay, now we're allowed to write. And I wrote it down. Okay, fine. Okay, well, 3 days later, the time came to announce who has passed and has not passed. And you know, the Swiss, they are such bastards. They said, if you don't hear your name, you passed. In other words, the poor suckers that didn't pass, they had their names announced. You know, to rub it in once more. Unfortunately, my friend, he didn't make it. He was a great guy. But they didn't mention my name. Okay, so that means I passed. Well, 3 weeks later, the school said that I wrote the best test from the school. Okay. My mother didn't even say anything. And about 3 months later, they told her that I was one of the 3 best of the whole canton, which is the whole, like, well, in Canada, it's a province, right? Or in the States, it's a state. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it must have been the aliens that helped me, because otherwise it would not have been possible. It just couldn't have been, you know. So that's one of my strange things. And I had a few others. Of course, I had aliens when I was small, and have implants and all that stuff. But what for, I don't know. And I don't remember having been abducted. I didn't have any regression, and I don't know. I don't believe necessarily in hypnosis. Even so, once I was trying to have a course on self-hypnosis, but I didn't go far with it. Anyway, it's all a very interesting experience we're all having.
I think it'd be good for you, Rolf, if you did real hypnosis about like in the early 1940s. You could be like one of the earliest known cases of grays in your bedroom, you know. I think it costs $200 or $300 to get a really good hypnotist, but there's probably a dozen of them in Vancouver that'll do it for you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I can come up with $300 if you know a good one, but I just don't think I can be hypnotized. I don't know. The same reason I cannot meditate. I just, you know, I was in groups. I was in a pyramid in Egypt. We did meditate, but I just got nothing out of it.
Yeah. Some people, it's hard to get hypnotized. That's true. It's like, it's hard to know unless you try, I guess.
Yeah. Anyway, maybe someday. Well, what the heck? I guess we could try it if you know somebody good. Let me know. And
I don't know any myself, but I've known people who've done it here, you know. But I did it with a hypnotist in 2012, but she died. Her name was Di Cherry, and it was quite effective, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like a woman that I haven't met in person, and her name is, oh God, what is her name? It just slipped my mind. I'll write to you. She was in the she goes to the sand thing, desert.
Oh yeah.
What do you call that thing in the desert?
Yeah, you're meeting in the desert.
I think it's Contact in the Desert.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think her name is Lorraine Smith. She was leading a class the previous year in Contact in the Desert, and it worked for me. So she's pretty good. She wasn't even in the room, and it was the year before. So I would love to do work with Lorraine Smith myself.
And where is she at?
I think she's in California or somewhere like that, but she does virtual work, right? She does it online too. So, well, you know, right now getting together with people is difficult.
Yeah.
So most everything is online, but she really was able to. She was leading a class of abductees into a hypnotic session the year before. So I was looking at it in 2020. That was 2019. Contact in the Desert, and I just spiritually joined the group. I sat with the group as if I was in the group, and I got answers. Rolf, that I had been wanting for so long. And I was very surprised that she's that powerful, that it could just be timeless, you know?
I think it's the fastest way to get answers. Hypnosis is a good thing to do.
You might try it, actually. You could do Contact in the Desert and just do the hypnotic sessions that they did and just join in.
Well, what about Jeff is going to hypnotherapist here in Vancouver. There's a few right in Vancouver, and he's having good results with one here. I think it's a fast way. I did it with my girlfriend in 2012. Turns out she was my daughter in Nazi Germany, and I was in the Luftwaffe. We all died at the end of the war. And she had, very clear recall. She was reliving this experience. She was in tears, for over an hour, the whole experience, and we recorded it.
Wow.
I've never had another experience like that. I mean, I think only hypnosis can give you something like that.
Is that the
I
same?
want to try to hypnotize someone. I can actually.
Week?
We should maybe record a goodbye to Roberto, right? We should say goodbye to Roberto. Thank you. Should we do that? Just for the recording here. So Roberto, thanks for being our guest your first time. It took a lot of courage. We had 16 of us here at the peak, so we appreciate it. We should give it a round of applause for Roberto.
Thank you,
I appreciate you
Roberto.
having me. Thank you very much that you were listening to me.
And I want to hear more.
I have more if you want to hear it. Yeah.
I know you have
Good.
more.
That's
Okay.
okay.
Till next time.
Kevin McCarthy, of course, the top Republican
Hi.
in the House, and
Hi.
Yeah.
He's back.
Yeah, I'm still on the side. I've been listening in on that, so I'm just coming in to say thank you very much, Roberto. It was brilliant, and I hope that was just part one of some more that you're going to present to us in the future weeks.
Yeah,
Very good.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. Thank you so much for it. And Brian, everybody, Mimi, for having me on here. I was exceptionally nervous before coming on, but I just decided just to get it over with. So,
well, one thing I did want to say to you was you said about not having or not seeking many friends, etc. I just wanted you to know, here, I think you're among friends here, and I think everyone would agree with that sentiment.
I do agree with that sentiment. I really feel that, and I think this is proper venue. I think for me to meet with people. I just feel very comfortable. Very good.
That's
Yeah,
good.
well done. Well done. Good.
Yeah. Guess that's the purpose of Meetup. Meetup creates communities. That's the whole point of Meetup. So big thank you to meetup.com.
So Ian, I want to talk with you.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, but I think I might have to just go and plug this iPad in.
No,
before I lose power.
I want to talk to you at another time. How can I do that? How can I do that?
Let's do that then. Just hold on a moment. I've just got to get a power supply. I'm gonna because it's.
So Mimi, we should talk about it and booking him for his first talk, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Last time he said he could do a talk on Ashtar Command. You studied that.
That's right. I've got it. In fact, I've got the business card of one of the guys who I'm hoping to maybe even bring on as part of this presentation, and we might have to do it in 2 or 3 parts, as Brian suggested, because it's every time I go to it, it seems to get a little bit bigger. But I think we have to give it some good the justification that it deserves.
Oh, should we do it next Sunday? Are you free next Sunday?
Yeah, it'd be great if you could come on.
I can't do it this Sunday, but I'll work on it for pretty soon. But it won't.
Well,
be
I don't mean tomorrow. I mean a week.
No, no. I've got to get some things in the right order. So it's still too soon. But don't worry, we'll get there.
Sure.
And that was encouraging as well to hear. I think she referred to herself as M from India.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, Alita recommended her as a guest. Alita with MUFON in Washington State. That's how we got in touch. I invited her to come today.
Yeah, it's good.
Is not ready to disclose yet, which is fine. We don't want to push people. We want it to be a natural process. So I told her just to wait till she feels the joy, the bubble.
Yeah, I heard that. I was listening on the side. That was good. So she should do so at her own pace. So that's good. And I don't know if any of you caught the interview that we had on Earth Files this last week with Terry Lovelace.
Oh, I saw half of it. I missed that part.
Yeah. Well,
no, I saw that. I saw that. He was off camera, right?
Yeah. No, Terry Lovelace was. He's the attorney who had the experience in the book. What was it? Encounter at Devil's Den, and then he's done Devil's Den, the Reckoning.
Oh yeah, I did watch that one on Wednesday. Yeah, with Linda.
Yeah, with a human hybrid Betty.
Yeah, oh yeah, Betty, yeah, I saw that. Good talk by Linda. Good illustrations too, you know.
Yeah, she put a lot of work into that. I think it was a long interview that we trimmed down, but we still kept it quite long for the audience, but the audience seemed to love that. And I've actually met with Terry Lovelace myself. I don't know if any of you have met with Terry. No? Okay.
No.
But yeah, he's a very good witness and a very credible witness. And as I always say, if Terry said it happened the way Terry said it happened. His books are very interesting anyway, and I'd recommend that one as well to anybody. So we were particularly pleased to bring that interview forward.
That's really good quality interview, like with Linda's. Like ours go on for 4 hours, but she literally makes them compact. I mean, she gets like 50,000 hits for one video. So it's like really see the quality. It's sort of a standard for us to aspire to, you know. And you were there. You're the moderator for her.
Yes, that's right. So I was doing the questions, Q&As, and then I do the comments afterwards, as well as a few other things behind the scenes. So that was good.
Very good.
And Mimi, you don't have to worry about being labelled UFO Mimi. With me, it's Spooky Ian. So you're all right with that.
You know, you get to like it after a while, right? I like it. I don't mind. You know.
That's right. I mean, yeah, some of the nicknames I was called as a child as well. It's quite, you know, still makes me laugh today. Yeah,
I don't mind it at all. You know, I kind of use it sometimes. I was going to use it a lot, but I only use it sometimes in some things.
And like a badge of honor.
I usually just go by my real name, because someday I'm going to write a book and the book will be under my real name. So I thought, you know, maybe just do full disclosure and use my name. I did a little bit of disclosure before under pseudonyms, you know, and
right.
And that's not what I want to do anymore.
No,
I
actually, yeah, actually, I thought of the comparisons from Roberto's talk earlier when he was talking about going to see these, well, first of all, with the job interviews, and then going to the hypnotherapy sessions. The parallels in the interviews that I've seen you do, Mimi, where you've talked as well about about the encounter that you had with the hypnotherapist, who may not have been a real hypnotherapist. You remember you told us about she used a crystal or something.
Oh yes, I mean that lady, I would like to see her again. You know, I really would like to see her again. And I've been reading some stories of other accounts, and some people seem to have better recall when they use crystals. But the crystal that she used on me, it was like a button. It was like pressing a button. She put it on my solar plexus, and boom, the experience opened. And
yeah, but that doesn't sound like your normal everyday hypnotherapist. That sounds like someone who has some other connections, and maybe working for the government, or for a government within a government, or maybe working in part of an alien liaison.
I've come to believe she was an alien liaison, possibly a hybrid, but she was in her 40s. So then we'd have to backtrack. This was 1997 or so. We would have to backtrack what happened, the hybridization that happened in the 50s. Then we would have to believe that hybridization and some of these children happened in the 50s, and this lady is possibly one, unless she's an alien that came here and learned how to live on Earth.
Yeah, and the other thing is the rapid growth and rapid aging of the clones and the hybrids, which, although she was in her 40s, she may have been rapidly grown from 20 years old.
Right.
But anyway, we can't really date it, but it's an interesting encounter that you had.
It's an interesting encounter, and I really would like to do some more sessions with a really, really good experienced person. There's a few things that I want to you know, to
explore, to open up.
Yeah, explore more. And plus, as I was saying, I've gotten bits and pieces from the Lauren Smith regression that she doesn't even know me, but I did it from the Contact in the Desert thing. That really changed direction for it really gave me a geography. It gave me geography for where the experience would have happened. So that was huge for me, and I want to explore that some more. But some of this stuff is what I want to talk to you about, to see.
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Right?
We'll definitely do it. Mimi, if you want, you can email me at ian@earthfiles.com, ian@earthfiles.com, and then just give me your contact details, and I'll give you a call, and we'll just talk about it.
Okay. And should I say anything in the subject so that you know it's me?
You just put Mimi in there. That's generally what I get people to do. Put their name in the
all right.
in the subject header.
Yeah.
We'll go from there.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's okay.
Yeah. So I'm home, and this is weird. I'm doing my quarantine at home, and I feel like I'm with people, so I'm cheating.
Yeah. Well,
supposed to be alone.
No. It's good to have you back anyway, Mimi.
Thank you. It was really quite weird down there, to tell you the truth. The financial situation is starting to hit people now, and theft is happening. Rip-offs are happening. You know,
yeah.
Like grifting.
I know the situation. My wife's or my ex-wife is Mexican. As I said with Yvonne Smith's UFO let's say presentation in Contact in the Desert, I was talking to them about my wife and her experiences. I said my wife was Mexican, as I explained the situation. And I actually said my wife's still Mexican. They laughed like anything in that presentation. But my wife, I spoke with her a couple of weeks ago actually, and she was able to tell me about the situation in Mexico, and it does seem to be, let's say, it's not a stable situation.
No, the government didn't really help people financially the way our governments did.
No, and they would never do that. The government,
yeah,
the Mexican government's never going to do that.
People are finding themselves pretty tight financially, you know, and the smart ones are starting to grow their own vegetables and buy ducks, and I don't know if you guys saw my ducks and chickens and things for eggs, because they're going to suffer. There's no money from tourism, and tourism is being killed. So
that's right. I mean, I was only listening last week on the BBC from our correspondent, and they were talking about the very dire need to get even basic medicines and healthcare, and some beds are being shared in hospitals with up to three patients in the hospitals. The one guy, he was only in his 30s, and he'd contracted COVID, but his mother had looked after him. He recovered. His mother went downhill very fast, and then he was, I think he said that he had to go to 50 different hospitals to try and find a bed for his mother.
And where was he?
Let me think now what state he was in.
Because where we are, it's absolutely almost zero. The hospitals are not full. We're being very, very lucky in the part of
I think this guy must have been in somewhere like Veracruz or wherever, on the other side.
Right.
So I'm not sure. My mother-in-law is very much in favor of, she grows, growing her own organic crops, etc., and being proactive with all that sort of thing.
Well, that's
But
what I was telling everyone when I was there. I showed my video as much as I could, the video that I made with Miles about growing your own food, and people were laughing and like, oh, we didn't know people grew their own food in Canada. And I'm like, you guys have the best weather to grow food all year round. Do it, you know. And I've gotten a few of my friends who had just fallow dirt to start growing things, you know.
yeah,
And I think that they're definitely going to have to do it, because tourism, at least in the area where I was, that's the main bread and butter. So people are
yeah,
being
I can
laid
believe it.
off, maids are being laid off, guards are being laid off, you know, hotel managers even, you know, there's just hardly people in the hotels. So
Yeah.
when you know, when those things happen, then people have to you know, get smart. And fortunately for them, there's still a lot of avocado trees, coconut trees, mango trees that are free fruit. You know, we don't have that. We don't have free fruit, but people can go out and get fruit at least.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, you're quite lucky to have the opportunity of going down there, Mimi. Is it your own place that you've got down there? That
I
you go
know.
to
I rented a place for many years.
I really liked your art as well. In fact, the
Yes.
picture that you showed the young lady from India, that reminded me about I don't know if you can remember the dragonflies drones. Brian, you might know that what I'm talking about, the dragonfly drones, the carrot drone, CARET drone that Linda Moulton Howe did the research on,
Yeah.
which was a craft which looks very much like that circle at the top.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, they were very geometric and lanky and looked like they've been like cobbled together, but they were like,
That's all right.
yeah,
Mm,
I remember those.
nice.
And from what I remember reading about them, some people had, I don't know, this is a long time ago on the website, they had taken them apart. Somebody had shown that it was actually man-made, and they had to use these alien kind of symbols on them, and that's what actually powered them, or something like this.
Yeah, they call it self-activating software, and I believe that this is the same sort of thing that may have been on the craft in Rendlesham Forest that was touched by Jim Penniston. When he ran his hands along the side of it, that he activated something. It's something such as self-activating software. In fact, actually, while I was looking for Base 10, I came up with a company called Base 10 Venture Capitalists, and their tagline is something like is to do with integrating humanity with artificial intelligence.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Wow, that's what's coming, eh?
Oh, my God.
Transhumanism.
And as Richard Dolan says, the fourth stage of humanity. That's the important part. But at that same stage, Petra's not here this week, but we had an interesting discussion last week on this, because we've now got the choice of the fourth stage of humanity, which is perhaps our next evolutionary jump, which is the transhumanism and the artificial intelligence. But we've also got the chance to ascend spiritually. So, and I don't know if the two are mutually compatible, or if it's a choice of one or the other, or one to save the other.
Yeah, that's the big question I have. Like, is this whole New World Order change or have something that could have a good outcome? I just assume it's bad. But if they want us more organized and controlled, the Greys want to jump us up ahead, they would want to get humanity sort of under control. So COVID is really the first time in history where all of humanity is getting under control. So what's
Yeah,
hand?
I think you're right, because it's almost as though we're moving towards a compliant society, to become compliant, and like the analogy that let's say Betty used in her discussions with Terry Lovelace. Betty suggested that it was like a beehive when the bees need to be saved, etc. Well, we all know that bees seem to always work together as a collective, and perhaps humanity is now moving towards that, but also becoming compliant and then becoming like this. I know David Jacobs, when I've spoken with David Jacobs, he's said, Ian, it's planetary acquisition. They need a compliant species. And we know that very often these abductees are talking about life after the event, or however the event will be. And the event will be a shared planet with humans and aliens, or between humans and alien hybrids. Well, will that be a shared planet on their terms, or is it a shared planet on both of our terms, or is it a shared planet that we've got no choice over, but that's how it is? You are a compliant hybrid in the new world.
Actually, from my perspective, this just came up in my own mind that excuse me, that as humans we tend to think in our own, well, like if it's a corporation, it's a quarterly, quarterly profits. Human beings, maybe generationally, our lifetimes, that sort of thing. But then if you go a little bit higher from that, then you realize that if you're into spirituality and reincarnation, you realize that basically your bodies are you have multiple bodies, but your existence is perpetual. Like you are there. You are, for any other word, I don't know what other word to use, immortal. So, but in this case, for all these things that are happening on this scale, it's like we think in human terms, but it's like the mountains or the geography or the continents drifting apart, or planets being formed, the stars being formed. It's like much longer. This is really long-term plan. I don't know if it's a plan or not, but it is really long-term process. And when we look at these kinds of things like hybridization and all that sort of thing, it looks like, what are they doing to us, etc. But we have a limited lifetime in these bodies, and then after that, the way I look at it, at least, we come back again in different bodies, and we're thrown into the deep end of that pool, whatever the new pool, and you go along with that, and you have all these worries and all the fights and the wars that you do and battles that you go through your lifetime. But then, and part of this, even at a higher level, even if it is ETs and they're much more advanced, but the way I kind of look at it is that these things are all like ETs, everything, we're all part of this one, I don't know what to call it, and so whatever is moving, if it looks like it's going to go in a wrong direction, and it may last for 1,000 years even, or 10,000 years, or 1,000,000 years, but eventually it always ends up that way. And so, like, I really believe in, I don't know if you want to call it, it's not really nature, but it's, this thing it's self-correcting maybe. So people, like certain civilizations or groups or whatever may think of themselves as all powerful and like they can control anything, and they are like gods, quote unquote. But in the long term, it's at this higher level that looks on these people or these groups as just being like just part of the flow, and just like, they can be brushed aside anytime, and or whatever, or change. Like these groups who are perhaps have these kinds of intentions, like towards like being selfish and whatnot. If let's say they do win over and they come out on top, and all this other suffering happens. The suffering happens for that particular body, but you come back again, and eventually these groups, depending on the societies that they build and all these kinds of things, I think that they can morph also. So maybe these groups that are these people that have this kind of selfishness in themselves, eventually they learn through this reincarnation process and through the whole long time to move along the path to being more, I don't know how to call it, like more spiritual or more serving of other people and respecting of other people and all that kind of thing. So whatever we're seeing, what I'm trying to say in a long-winded way is that everything is impermanent basically. So things will change.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and yeah, I think everybody here is probably in agreement with that. A certain amount that we can do and that we are doing, but also that there's some sort of guiding force that keeps correcting the path.
Yeah,
I think we need to decide if we're going to take a path of resistance or if we're going to just go along with whatever this hive mind wants us to do. Myself, I declare that I'm taking the path of resistance because I think the planet belongs to human beings. And if anyone is going to run the show, it should be us. I don't think outside forces should be running the show because, for one thing, they have lost, like, let's say the Greys, okay? The Greys have lost their ability to procreate. They are cloning themselves and now cloning humans. Well, that's not a natural process. The natural process is coming through the mother into the earth and becoming part of the whole ecosphere. Let's say a human that's born through the natural channel becomes part of the whole ecosphere.
sure.
Those people are outside of that. That's why they want us so much. That's why they want what we have. Well, it's fine to share, but it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's not fine for them to take over and to try and run our planet, whether they're reptilians or whether they're archonic grays or whatever. I think we have to stand firm for what we like. I liked the world that we had. I liked it.
Yeah.
You know,
The way I kind of like looking at it is, if one agrees like on the concept of reincarnation, then what makes us? We call it the soul or our whatever it is. Okay, then if we are reincarnated, reborn into a body, a physical body. I've heard stories of people being reborn into ETs being reborn into human bodies and vice versa and all that sort of thing. So basically, it's these bodies that are conflicting, but at the basic level, at the most deep level, we are really the same. But so what is this territoriality and all this other kind of stuff? I don't understand all of that. Is it people are just being reborn in different species bodies and that sort of thing, just to learn? Is it a learning process? Is that what it's all about? I have no idea.
I want to comment, Jeff was told, he's kind of like one of their children. The gray refers from Crystal psychically sensed that he was her little boy, and like with you, Norbert, your friend said, well, you're one of them. So yeah, maybe they think of us as kin, like the book by Celestine's Star Kin. So yeah, with the idea of rebirth, humans can take rebirth as grays or reptilians or devas, and they can take rebirth as humans. So maybe it's all kind of all the same family. So that's the question: is it a good thing or a bad thing? For me, that's the big question. And if they're finally getting humanity organized, like the idea of compliance, like Ian said, maybe they want to bring us to this human hybrid transition, and that's what they're doing. Like whether we like it or not, that might maybe what's happening. So if they are, let's hope it's a good thing. And the goal is spiritual.
For me, I would be convinced if I saw action. If I saw action on the part of the Greys or reptilians or anybody who's here, who's trying to do things to the planet, okay, clean it up. Clean it up. That would be my main thing, because my thing is water. So my instructions to any alien life that is here trying to live with us or trying to get rid of us or trying to convince us that they're good, we'll start with our water. If you have so much technology, never mind all this hybridization, clean our water, clean the water on this planet, and then show us that you're good guys. You know, clean the pollution, clean the air.
Yeah, Mimi.
That's what I
Celestine-
would expect from them if they have high technology.
Celestine Starr talks about the Galactic Earth Council, the people that she's, or let's say the beings that she's been interacting with for several years, from the Bay Area of California. Now, they actually helped apparently to clear up the oil spill, the BP oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico.
Excellent. You see, that's what my brothers, my space brothers would be doing. That's what I would
Yes.
consider my space brother,
And,
right?
and do you,
Someone who's actually bringing their great technology and helping us to not destroy our planet.
and do you remember the witnessed the Brooklyn Bridge abduction by Bud Hopkins? Well, in there,
Not sure. Not that one.
they were on the shore, and they found themselves holding the dead fish, saying that they'd got to do something about the pollution of the fish and the wildlife. And it is true that very often the people who are involved in the abduction, the abduction phenomena, realize about the impact that we are having on the environment, the way that we are treating, as Noam Chomsky says, the earth as an infinite resource and an infinite garbage can, and it's unsustainable. And we come to that conclusion, and that's what the extraterrestrials have been teaching us for the main part, that there's an ecological aspect of cleaning up and saving our planet, but it's something that we are told we have to do it ourselves, that they are not really stepping in to help us. I don't know why that is, whether it's part of the prime directive or whatever, but we do know that well, as Celestine says, that they have stepped in and they have helped in at least that one oil spill, and maybe there are many cases when they have stepped in that we're not even aware of.
Well, what I think is maybe they feel it has to be boots on the ground to clean up the planet, and we're not doing a good job. Like Jeff said this last week, that they basically suggest them, if we don't want to take care of the planet, well, then they'll take care of it, meaning that maybe the reason why they want a human hybrid to be the ones in the future to look after the planet is because Homo sapiens have proven in centuries we're not doing a good job of taking care of the planet. We're also not spiritual. There's no unity. We're adamatized. Abraham religions are not spiritually uplifting people. We're not taking care of the planet. So maybe that's the justification they feel to have a hybridization program. Maybe Homo sapiens are just not doing a good job. So if they want boots on the ground to take care of Earth, it would make sense to have a hybrid race and just get rid of Homo sapiens. Like, none of us are complaining that 45,000 years ago, we got bigger brains. We're not saying, hey, we want to go back to smaller brains. We were interfered with by aliens. That's not fair. We want to all have smaller brains. Nobody's saying that, right?
No.
No, and the genetic manipulation has been going on for millennia. I believe that's how it is. Although the overriding part is that as human beings, or Homo sapiens, we actually have a soul that is connecting us and connected to us, and that is a very important aspect that we have. No matter how much our body has been genetically engineered and modified, we still have a soul that
Yes.
That can still go forward and change and make decisions, hopefully, and keep our free will.
I think they respect the soul. Like, they respect the soul. The body's just a container. You know, we could have a better body.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say something to Norberto, actually, that came to my mind.
Oh, sure.
Have you ever read The Hidden Messengers? I can't say the word.
Messages.
In water?
No, I've never seen that. I've never read that. I have not heard of it before. I am aware of the doctor. Is it?
It's a Masaru Emoto.
Emoto, yeah.
And what I was thinking is because you've got such powerful hands, this might be a really wonderful way for you to find out just what your hands can do. Because, you know, if you worked with water a little bit, and you could find a way to see that the water was doing things when
Right.
you use your hands on it, that might be a really beautiful thing.
Actually,
I had a vision once, after one of my regressions. I had a vision, and people are doing this actually. I've just never run into them, of people who have power in their hands going out to the lakes that are dirty and to creeks and things, and just, you know, using the power to clean the water.
well, what I would say is, what I believe is that everybody has power like that, and it's just a matter that people are not trained to use it, and most people just don't believe it. Period. And they've been brainwashed by science again. That, you know,
Right.
only whatever you can see and touch is real, right? And
Right.
even though the same science says Big Bang is real and all these black holes are real, even though they can't see and touch those either. So it's like selective.
Well, you might really enjoy that book. You might enjoy it.
Yeah, and one of the things that I've been doing is I've been working on my latest project, which has been basically a machine that uses it's for healing, and it uses light. It uses something called photobiomodulation, otherwise known as a low-level light therapy or low-level laser therapy. And I decided to build a machine when I found out, like maybe a few years ago. I made the first one maybe 3 years ago, and been using it. And my wife and I have been using it, and I'm making a second version now that uses, and it also uses something called pulse electromagnetic field therapy, PEMF. And I combine those two, plus on the second version I have right now, I'm combining something called electrostimulation. So my first version, like I built some boxes, for example, here is this is a box that I built that is for the light, and the controller is different. It has many different wavelengths of light wavelengths, mostly in the red and infrared. And it also has a coil in there for the field, pulse field. But what I wanted to do on that particular thing, I've been reading about also the quartz crystals, like alpha quartz, and the lattice structure of it, sort of like I've heard it's like a double lattice, like double helix kind of a structure. So, and I know that people are trying to put together things like people who do healing with crystals and that sort of thing. And is it possible to use crystals, you know, especially crystals that have nonlinear characteristics, meaning you change one wavelength or frequency of light to another one, you know. Those things exist everywhere, and including they use those in quantum experiments as well, quantum communication and that sort of thing, quantum experiments. So what I was thinking is if I can add that with crystals and coils, and because all these stuff, I've been looking at this for like a long time, and whenever you talk about like UFOs and propulsion systems like anti-gravity and all that kind of stuff, all these weird effects and healing effects, you know, there is probably a field or a frequency or something that is much higher than like, for example, much higher than what we would see in 3D space, okay, for lack of a better term. So maybe it's, you know, and as for dimensions are always seem to be orthogonal to each other, okay, 90 degrees to each other. So is there like another dimension or some other field that is orthogonal 90 degrees to this 3D space that can be utilized and harnessed for not only like for healing, but also for power generation and things like anti-gravity and like the use of where the saucers were. I think there are a few factors that always come into this. First one is very, very high voltage. Second one is very high frequency voltage. There are third one is like magnetism, like that sort of thing. There's a lot of things that are totally unknown to mainstream science. They pretend they know they know what they are, but they really don't know.
Well, gravity, for instance.
Gravity, yeah. What is gravity?
Right?
Yeah, nobody. What is gravity? What is mass? What is time? You know, they have all these really great equations, and some of them are really fudged to give whatever answer 2 + 2 = 37, for example. So to prove things that they, for whatever reason, they want to push, and so, like, for me, I've been trying to put together like some kind of technology or look into it that is actually beneficial to people, like for healing especially. And the other thing that comes out of that is, like, I've heard a lot of stories, read a lot of stories where people encounter like UFOs or ETs on the ground and or in craft, and the ETs will have either a little box on them or they'll hold something that looks like a wand, a stick, and they'll point the stick at a person, and that person will either freeze or they'll be thrown back or something like that will happen, some physical effect. So my thought was, because I do the Qigong, I do the healing. So are they using their innate energy like this? And is this stick or whatever it is it an amplifier? Is it something that they hold and it amplifies it? Because by myself, for example, I couldn't move my pen on the desk, but if I have an amplifier for this, a mineral or
well, like dowsing rods are like that.
Yeah,
right?
I've used dowsing rods. Yeah, I have dowsing rods. I use them too. And so like can that be, can something like that be used? The other thing too, I read about a guy by the name of last name of Rich, who was the VP of Lockheed Skunk Works. Okay, and he went. Rich.
Ben
Rich. That's it. Yes, thank you. And he had given an impromptu lecture at some university one time. A lot of people ended up showing up, and he said a few things, and one of them was, we now have the technology to bring ET home, for example, and all that sort of thing. But later on, he started a company to create a medical, like a healing device. And this after he retired from Lockheed, and the scuttlebutt was that he had witnessed an alien device, handheld device, that worked in 2 modes. The first mode was diagnosis mode and diagnostic mode, and the second one was healing mode. So this thing it would scan the person from head to toe in the diagnosis mode, and then and the second mode would be would be where it would emit some sort of healing energies, and it would completely heal. Didn't matter what the person had, I guess, like their illness or disease, and it would heal them. So I mean, this means that, like, implies to me, and I don't know, I really don't know if this is right or not, but it implies to me that if you do Qigong, like healing, the energy from my hands, I cannot measure it. I mean, I'm an electrical engineer. I mean, I cannot measure it on a multimeter, a voltmeter. I cannot, I can probably get the heat feedback from a thermal camera or something like that. But you really cannot detect that energy with using conventional means. So it's that conventional means, trying to get that means to become conventional, that one of the things that I would like to try to do. So, but anyways, I'm sorry for the going off on a tangent